right, so it's been a while. Kind of depressed. Things are at an all-time low, but you know what normally cheers me up? Collecting cards. So let's take a look at what's new. Prismatic is new.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
So I previously touched on this topic not too long ago. I think the biggest two videos I think stand out if you're interested in checking out would be the one about the dark side of trading card collecting and just kind of falling into a lot of these hype cycles where everything's super overpriced and you end up buying it because everyone's telling you, oh, well, the only way it's going to go is up. It's very, very easy to fall into these cycles and end up spending more than you can probably afford, and you probably should. So check that out if you want to. The second one I talked about kind of historically what speculative bubbles are, which is pretty much what things are right now when it comes to sets like Prismatic Evolution, with sets like Final Fantasy collector boxes that are going to come out in Magic the Gathering. When it comes to Journey Together, Team Rocket, all these sets are gonna be really, really expensive, and you have to be really, really careful when it comes to what you choose to buy and at what price point you enter in on, right? So just to add a little bit more reason into the chaos that's really happening right now, if you're buying these boxes at $150, $160, like $100 in ETB, I would really, really think before you spend that much money on this, especially when you consider the options that you have right now, right? You can clearly see throughout the market if you're looking at singles right now, which I'll give examples, or other products. There's a lot of buyouts happening. And I want to make a point in, if you collect what you enjoy, most of the times you won't lose out on. The main thing that causes you to really lose interest in the hobby is when you buy what's hype, you buy what other people are interested in, and you end up losing sight of what you're interested in. And you're just buying whatever is the most expensive, pretty much, right? You're buying, oh, what does everyone? Oh, everyone wants the Umbreon, so I'm gonna spend $1,500 buying an Umbreon. Like, if you're some of these people that are buying this for $1,600, it's your money, but you know, I don't know how, if I would personally make that decision. So in this video, I'm kind of going to talk about what really works for me when it comes to collecting, where my strategy has always just been I collect what I enjoy, I collect the arts that I like, and I find my own little niche in it, which I think that's kind of like how you maintain a healthy relationship with this hobby of collecting, where if you collect what you enjoy as opposed to collecting what other people tell you to collect and what's valuable, most of the time you'll burn yourself out a lot when you're just buying whatever the high dollar cards are. But the disclaimer is, one of my gripes is also when people make posts about, oh, this card is so underappreciated. Had no one ever paid attention to this card, X card, or whatever it is? You really have to read between the lines when you see posts like that, because I hate when people assume that people are stupid. And unfortunately, when you're new to the hobby, you do fall for these traps where people tell you, oh, this is underappreciated, so you should buy this card. And a lot of times when you read between the lines and you actually look closer, these people are just trying to manipulate the market and trying to get people to buy what they think it stonks. Because everyone just says everything's underappreciated. And that's when I'm going to show you examples of like things that I've bought that people are just buying out and at what price point I entered at. And then you end up seeing, like, if in general you just collect what other people don't collect, you're in a pretty good spot. But you should be very, very careful when people tell you, oh, these things are underappreciated, this is lower price than it is, because there's a lot of ill intent when it comes to a lot of these posts. And a lot of these PokeTubers like Charizard 5000, all these like shitty channels like Poke Daddy or whatever it is, a lot of these channels I just really don't like because they're just very dishonest when it comes to like what their intentions are and what their place is in the market itself. So I think my main thing I want to throw out there is that before you buy an ETB of Prismatic Evolution for $200 or like 150 or whatever it is, I just wanted to put into perspective that for $150, you could be buying pretty much close to a lot of these alt full arts. I think that the prices aren't really as accurate. I think they borderline more closer to, I think, $200 for near mint. But just put that into perspective, right? You could have a lot of these really awesome full arts and alt arts for $100 as opposed to buying like an ETB for 150. And if we're going to talk about even sealed, right? These are going up, obviously, because everyone's buying out literally everything. If we're looking at sealed, you'll see that even buying like a case of Paradox Rift of booster boxes, or even buying a single booster box, you're paying a single booster box price for an ETB of Prismatic Evolutions. That's just absolute insanity if you think about it, and you just try to put a lot of this into perspective and like, okay, does this really make sense for me to buy? So I think when it comes to collecting what I enjoy, the first thing that really popped in my head was like these collection boxes, like nobody wanted. I only have one Kingdra, but my OCD, I'm either autistic or I have OCD or something, right? Where I just felt like, oh, these were so cheap, and I really like the Greninja SIR boxes, and I picked up like 5 of them. 5 just seemed like the nice number to have. I think I could grab like 5 of them because I wanted at least one clean copy of it. But I just really like the Greninja boxes and the card art itself, right? I only picked up one of the Kingdra because I wasn't too big on it. I still like the art and I wanted it anyway. And when we look at the prices of the actual Greninja illustration boxes itself, it was on the release, they were like $60, $70. They were really hard to get. They were selling out. And at some point last year, they dropped all the way down to, you were able to actually pick them up for like 20 something a box, I think. So not including all, we're not going to talk about the set or whatever it is, but if you're just saying, oh, I'm buying the box just for the SIR itself, so let's say the SIR is like 20 something dollars, right? And then we look at the actual price of the SIR itself, they're like $12, whatever it is. Now that people are buying it out as of today, I know people have just been buying out these cards. You look at it, like people are buying 6 of these for like $40, $50, $30. So overall, the card itself has almost tripled in price. I picked them up at like 20 something a box. So this is a very clear example of like outside of market manipulation in general. Like if you collect, again, what you like, whether or not this went up or if it stayed at the same price of $20 or $10, I personally still enjoyed the card, and it didn't hurt me at all to hold on to, because I didn't buy it at $60. I bought it at MSRP. I bought it at lower end of MSRP. I got some boxes loose. I'm waiting for some cards coming. I bought boxes for like $20, and I mainly just wanted a promo so that way I didn't have to open the ones that I had. But if you look at just even this small specific example, this doubled, tripled in price. So that's really something to think about, right? When it comes to, if you collect what you enjoy and not what's considered expensive, what you enjoy might end up being something that's considered valuable. And that is a better feeling than if I were to buy this. If I bought this at like fucking like $70 or $150 and then it dropped to like $10, that's a pretty shitty feeling, right? And at that point, I would have bought it just because everyone else is telling me, oh, this is the most expensive card. All right, so I'm going to go through like kind of like the cards I feel like have jumped up in prices as of recent times, and go over like some that just haven't moved up. But in general, like what I've been collecting over the past couple years and what I enjoy. And in general, it's sort of worked out for me, right? If I have the price point, I'll kind of put it on the screen and I'll pause and just pull up my purchase history just to show like when it was bought and what the price actually was, right? So Rayquaza V I picked up um at a card show actually, so I don't actually have a like a receipt for it, but I picked this up around I think for 90, and that was roughly at the beginning of last year. And then if you look at the actual price, this thing pretty much has been going over like 150, 180, like $200, and that's like when you're trying to look for a card that's like near mint, right? And when I say collect what you enjoy is because the whole time everyone's saying how Rayquaza VMAX was like the better card, Umbreon VMAX is a better card, or whatever it is. I personally think the Rayquaza VMAX is pretty fucking ugly. Personal preference, but because everyone's trying to pump that card up, everyone kind of forgets about this card and they're like, oh well, because other people don't think this card is expensive, then it's worthless, so no one wants it, right? So this card was sitting at like $70, $80. I picked it up myself and it worked out for me, so an example of collect what you enjoy. And I'll go through like the other cards if other people are curious, like Fuecoco. I have like the English versions as well too, but there's like a Japanese version that was like under like $10. I don't think it's really worth anything, but it's just cute cards I enjoy collecting. So it's not just about like price point, right? I don't know. This card just kind of looked derpy, so I kind of collected it. Raichu, this was actually cheaper than buying it raw, so that's why I picked it up. Jolteon V, this was just a miscut, which I found pretty interesting. Pikachu V, I think, went up in price. Again, I collect 9s because I buy them. Everyone says collect 10s, but I buy clean 9s because I really like the fact that if I want a near mint card, I could a lot of times get 9s for like less than raw sometimes. Especially if you go to like card shows. Special Delivery Pikachu, I think it's like one of those cards that pretty much kind of like stagnated in price and hasn't really moved. The Taiwan Pikachu, I don't think it's really worth that much, but it was just kind of really, really cute and I wanted it. The Cramorant, kind of very niche card. I think it's like really, really, really cute. So the next one I want to talk about is Umbreon, right? Umbreon V. Everyone talks about the Umbreon VMAX. I actually had Umbreon VMAX and I ended up just selling it. So if we look at Umbreon V itself, again, everyone's so focused on the Umbreon VMAX where I sold it and I honestly didn't think it was the better art. I honestly thought the Umbreon V looked a little bit more unique. Umbreon VMAX I never really liked because it looked more like that 3D CGI art style that I never really liked. And this card is going for raw like 230. Of course, I picked up like a PSA 9, right? For this one, I actually had the actual price for it since I picked this one up on eBay. So I have it up on the screen here. Of course, I took out, I don't know, like order numbers or whatever it is, just in case. I don't want to dox myself. But last year, I picked this up for $108. I think that's after taxes. So I think it was actually way less. I think it was like 90 or something like that. But think about that, right? Where I picked this up for 108 and because I'm looking at what I enjoy and what I want, right? But now, like, oh, okay, like it's over like $200 raw. And when you think about it again, this is just an example of if you don't go for what other people want and you just go for what you want, a lot of the times you'll find that you're gonna do pretty well in general. So scrolling through like what other examples I might have, Rocket's Mimikyu, I don't think is really a card that was gonna go up. Espeon VMAX, I think I picked this up at like 200 and I don't think it's moved really that much since. Dragonite V, I think it's one of those cards where I collect and I enjoy, but I think price point wise, it's been somewhat pretty stable. Lugia V, I think it's a really big one. Lugia V right now is going for like raw, like near mint for around like 280, 290, around like 300, of course, right? When we look at TCG player, like near mint, most of the time I honestly don't believe that cards are near mint, to be honest. And that's why I like picking up PSA 9s, just because I know that's pretty much as close to near mint as I can get, as opposed to just rolling the dice on TCG player. Hilariously enough, I actually picked this up for more than the Umbreon for some reason. So after taxes, shipping, and all that stuff, it came out to 140 for a PSA 9, which I honestly felt comfortable with just because I knew the card was something that I wanted. And I thought the copy was pretty clean and actually pretty well censored. So one thing I really do suggest people look into as well too is when you're buying cards is not so much the grade. Again, you want to choose things that are high quality as well too. There's stuff that are slabbed up that are like super fucked up, so you want to be really, really, really careful. Next cards, I picked up a PSA 9 Galarian Zapdos at the end of like a card show. They were just closing up. I think they gave it to me for like 35. I don't think this card has actually went up that much. Yeah, I think when it comes to actual raw prices, roughly around the same as what I picked it up for. And it's just one of those cards where I enjoy it, whether or not the price goes up or down. It really doesn't affect me because I didn't pick it up at like whatever hype prices would be, right? I picked up at a reasonable price, not at $60, not at like 70, and not $100. I'm picking up at like when people aren't really looking at it, and that's kind of the place that you sort of want to be when it comes to collecting, where you're not buying things that everyone's looking at. Next up is Mewtwo V-Star. Again, another one of those cards where I think Crown Zenith right now is getting pumped. Like, people are just buying out the card. But I originally just bought the card just because I really, really enjoyed it. Again, I bought it at 9. No one wanted it. It was at a card show. I think I picked it up for like $30 or something like that. And now when you look at the actual raw price itself, it's going for like $100. So again, right? These are just examples of, I keep repeating it because I want people to just remember that if you just buy what you enjoy, you'll be in a really, really, really good spot. Next card, Charizard V-Star. I don't know why I had that at 9. This is just like one of promos. The promos are going freaking crazy. If you bought any of those premium collection boxes for like $80, $90 that no one wanted, congratulations. Mewtwo. No one wanted this. This is just one of those cards no one really looks at. I'm pretty sure it went up. All right, so I was able to actually dig it out of my screenshot folder. I picked this up for around, I think after taxes and everything, it was like up to, let's just say 180, right? And again, I really felt like this is one of the cards where it was just very unique, and I just really, really enjoyed it. I think it stayed at a pretty stable price for a very long time, under 200, like 120 or something like that. I just wanted a 9 just because I saw that it was a very, very, very clean copy. That's why I grabbed it. And if you look at the actual prices itself, right? At a PSA 9, these things jumped up to like 2, 3. Of course, we're never look at the highest prices. Let's say like 300 to 400, or even if we look at it's at the same price that it's at right now. You see, like in the most recent months, even towards the end of the year, it stayed at the same price. But now that you see like the market's booming, everything's going up, right? If I really wanted to sell it, I could. But if you look at even raw prices on TCG Player, they're like $400 like each. Someone's trying to sell a PSA 9 for 500, right? And you have people buying them at a pretty consistent rate. So it's just something to another example to consider. Next up, I think a Bubble Mew. I bought it in JP. I think I got this for like 90 at a card show. I'm pretty sure it's went up. All right, so let's look. So yeah, it's went up. I bought this for like less than $100, and now it's up to like 230, 240, almost like, let's say like double or triple the price, right? Again, my main emphasis is on not buying what other people consider expensive, other people consider valuable, but what is worth it to you and what you're comfortable with. Because if I never looked at this, and I honestly don't go through my collection that much, I would just be like, hey, you know what? This is just a card I really enjoy, instead of looking at it and going like, man, I really regret picking this up. Just think about that. Raging Moon, I don't think it's really that expensive right now, but one thing to be aware of is Paradox Rift is going up. Booster boxes that people were not buying for like $100 are now like $150, $170. So it's just something to be aware about. I won't bore people with like the other cards that I had. I'm going through the graded ones first. But people have seen that video. I'm sure you've seen the Gengar. It's like fucking exploded in prices. I picked up the Gengar for like less than 200, and I really believed in that card at the time, just because I truly enjoy that card. And now it's like, what was it, like 17, $1,800 for a PSA 10? Well, there you go, right? Pick up the cards that you enjoy, pick them up at good quality. Charizard V, I have one that's graded. This one, I don't remember why I didn't grade it. I think it's just because I don't know. I don't know why I didn't grade it. But I have it in this case. Big L's are these, right? Charizard V's. Oh my god. I really like Thumbs Up Charizard. I don't think they've, if anything, I think they've gone down in prices. This Charizard definitely has gone down in prices. They're like $20, $30 each as opposed to like $100 and $200. So these were like big L's. Charizard VMAX is Champion's Path, I think. Not the best card price wise, but I mean, what guy doesn't like Charizards? I don't know. Charizard GX from Burning Shadows, I really wanted. Um, I don't believe it's one of the cards I could check right now. Yeah, so I bought mine locally, and I grabbed it for like 2 and change, I think. But you see, like even buying a raw on TCG Player is like $420, and a lot of times, like they're like super fucked up. Like you see, like how there's like dents on the edges. It's just like the card just fucked up in general, and that's just the printing quality of Burning Shadows. And I picked up this 8 because I just thought it was just like a very, very, very clean copy of an 8. And my main concern was mainly just like the front. And for what it is, I was like, I'll never pay for like a 10, and this is just what I enjoy, and I like having it in my collection. The Umbreon Darkrai, I don't think it's really focused on that much when it comes to cards, but I think it's a pretty nice card to have. Considering that it's a promo, I think it looks pretty great. Price wise, I don't think it's that crazy. Blastoise and Piplup. I checked, I didn't have like the actual receipt or record of it. I bought an 8, and at the time, I think it was a little bit higher than what I would have preferred. I think I picked up at 180. I looked at the prices right now, and honestly, like they're sitting around the same price, and it hasn't really moved. But again, I enjoy the card, so I never really look at my collection like, fuck, I shouldn't have bought it. I still really would still pick it up if I had the choice. As for an 8, I think I picked up just because it's probably off centered as I could tell, but the art is just really, really cute. Slowpoke and Psyduck, I think I just had one more copy of this. I know I graded one of these. I think I have 2 copies of these now. The Raichu and Alolan Raichu. I actually noticed that I picked up a lot of this stuff during March and April of last year. I think I was just probably like really depressed, and I sold a lot of the stuff that I don't like, and then I picked up stuff that I wanted and kind of made me happy. Especially a card like this, right? That's super cute. I picked this up for 140 after taxes, so that means I probably offered like 120 or like 110 or something like that. And then after shipping and taxes, it came out to the 140. I picked up again a 9 just because I thought it was a very, very, very clean copy. And when we look at what the prices are now, there's not really that many. I sorted it out by only showing near mint. There's not that many copies of this card out there. And at raw is, let's just say, is roughly around 200, and it's pretty much just only on the rise itself. The card itself, I like it just because I mean, it's cute. Like how can you really like deny that it's not cute, right? And it's just cards that I believe in myself, that I find value in, and I honestly think it's underappreciated, which is why a lot of times, like, oh, I don't like talking about these things because I'm not trying to pump up these cards, but I believe a lot of these cards are underappreciated, and in a sense where no one's looking at these cards, which is great for me because I get to pick them up when I want them for cheap. Sableye and Tyranitar, let me take a look real quick. So I looked, it's roughly around the same price that I got it at. Like it's around like 130. I got it graded at a 9 for around like 130 shipped, I think, as well too. And in regards to like have the price went up, no. But though I still really enjoy the card again, yeah, I really enjoy the card. And it's good to show these like examples of like, oh, when cards go up and cards go down, because like, oh, Charizard's cards go down, no one talks about it. And they just say, oh, Charizards are stonks, and no one talks about when it goes down and cards become worthless, right? Not worthless, but Cramorant, I think it's like a $2 card, but I just really enjoy Cramorant. Gengar Mimikyu. I think this is a very specific example of like things that just like fucking skyrocketed. The ship has pretty much sailed for this card, and I don't think there's any going back. At this point, like it's out of the price range for most people. I picked up mine directly from someone else. Again, this is a PSA 9, right? I picked up mine for like 280. And I just always like I'm actually really, really like Mimikyu. I think you saw other cards I had Mimikyu with, and for the Mimikyu card, like again, the list there's no near mint listings up, and people are listing near mint versions for like $1,000. I don't know if anyone's buying them at $1,000, but I just want you to kind of think about it and consider that, you know, I picked up this card because I enjoyed it, and at the time, it wasn't out of my price range. It wasn't like ridiculous. Anything that reaches up over a couple $100, that's automatically like a no for me. I just don't pick them up anymore. If it's something that I could sell something else and buy for like 100 and change, I pick up. These I picked up the Starter Boy promo cards. I think they're promos in Japanese. I picked up a trio of them because they were like a sequential number. I think they were like $100, but in total, I just thought it was like really cute. That's why I picked it up, and the sequential number was kind of cool. Slowking, I just really like this card. I like the really derpy looking Pokemons. Special Delivery Charizard, I think, is one of the cards where people speculated on and just lost on. I got mine from ordering, and I made out like a bandit. Machamp, I think, is one of those cards where I bought raw, but I think I just really like the art. I don't think anyone's really buying it out, like going, oh, it's gonna be like a $300-$400 card. But I think it's one of those cards that I enjoy, and whether or not it goes up, it'll probably go up. To be honest, all these alt arts that no one looks at will probably go up. That's just how it is. But it's just one of those things where again, choose what you enjoy, right? Mango Pikachu is kind of out of the price range for a lot of people now. I think SA10s are ridiculous prices. The regular Pikachu tag teams. I guess if you look at a lot of my cards, I'm a really big believer in tag teams. The Greninja Zoroark, I think the art itself is like not like that amazing. If anything, I think I like the regular GX more than the actual like secret rare version of it. We could look at the price real quick. Yeah, so at near mint, the card's sitting at, let's just say, like 80 to 90 to 100. And I honestly think that would be like an acceptable price for someone that wants to go into, because I don't think it's like really fluctuating that much. It's been kind of staying at the same price for a long time. Whether or not you like Greninja, that's really up to you. For me, I just really like tag teams. So, something to consider. Like a 10-hour long video. When I compile this together, it's probably already like half an hour or something like that. And I know people say I yap a lot, but for the people that enjoy it, let me know if you want to see the rest of kind of like the bulk that I have. This is part of the bulk that I have. Bulk, as in cards I've were not like the most expensive ones. But when I dig through a lot of this, I see a lot of the illustration rares. They all pretty much went up and over the moon when it comes to prices. The Moltres, these are not junk cards, of course. I pulled myself, and I was thinking about grading it. But the Umbreon, I think it's a really funny card just because I don't want to. I honestly don't want to like try to pull for it. It just doesn't make sense. Just buy singles. I think at some point there are so many of these singles being sold that they were just cheap. No one wanted them, and I kind of threw it into my bulk pile box. And I was gonna put it into the One Touch at some point for display, but I picked this up for I think like 150, and now these are like what the Japanese version is like 500. So just consider, right? You know what you consider valuable and what other people consider valuable, and if you enter at like a comfortable price point, you'll kind of feel like me at some point. Just you'll put cards away and go like, okay, I enjoy them. I don't regret getting them. And if they go up, they go up. If they don't go up, I picked it up at a reasonable price. But if you did something again, if you picked up an English Umbreon or whatever prices these Umbreons are now, $2,000, you feel a sense of regret, and that's what makes you leave the hobby. Ursaluna, I feel like a lot of people aren't collecting. I think I graded a copy of this. It's very funny. It's like somewhere in my closet back there, I actually had a submission that I haven't opened yet, and it's been like almost half a year. Jesus Christ. I should probably make a video on that and open it. Chansey, another card in my bulk pile that I'm not even gonna look at it. It's probably like a I don't know $10-$20 card that will probably go up. I just really like the cue card. Beware, the one that looks like the meme from Simpsons where Seymour Skinner just goes like pathetic. More tag team Sylveon. I don't know what this is from. Radiant Collection. Pikachu VMAX from that collection box. I just like how chonky it looks in this one. These Charizards, oh my god. I didn't even bother grading this because I think this card was like what? I had it in my Obsidian Flames opening and I got this. I think it was like a $20-$30 card. No one wants it. And people are buying it out now, and I think it's like going over like 100 or something like that. So it's worth something now. These like Let's Eat Pikachu promos. 151's going like super up. Darkrai V-Star. This one went up. Yeah, so pretty much if anyone wants to see the rest of my bulk, which is probably worth a lot now, I could go through it and make a different video, but I hope this just kind of gives you an example of just collect what you enjoy, and most of the time you'll feel good about it, whether or not the prices go up or down. If it goes up, great. It lets you pick up more parts for your collection. If it goes down, then you won't feel as bad because you didn't buy it just because someone else told you. You bought it because you wanted to buy it. And again, I just want to make the point that this is not me trying to tell you what to buy. I'm just telling you to find what you want to buy. And I'm just using the cards that I have as an example, right? And you want to be very, very, very careful of any other videos or any other post that tells you, oh, these cards are underappreciated, because I could have easily just say, hey, you know what? All these cards that I bought, they went up in price, and I think you should buy them too. No, like I think I've made it very clear, and I think I was pretty honest where like I think some of these cards were already out of people's price points. And there's a lot of cards where I buy, like I'm gonna give one more example of cards that I buy that I just really enjoy. I really like Cramorants. Am I telling you to buy Cramorants? No, like I just bought Cramorants because I just really like the card. I'm kind of OCD, and I try to look for like the most perfect copy of them. And I think it was cheaper for me to just. Some people are selling 10 of these at once. It was cheaper, I think, for less than $1 each, and it was like cheaper for me to just pick them up. And am I telling you to buy Cramorant? No, don't buy Cramorants. Like other than like a retard like me, like I think I'm probably the only one that wants Cramorant, just because I think it looks like he's having like an existential crisis or something like that. It's just me enjoying these cards, right? And you find what you enjoy. Am I gonna lose sleep over the fact that I bought Cramorants and for less than $1? No. But are you gonna lose sleep because you bought like a lot of these cards for $1,500? When think about how many Cramorants I could have bought for $1,500, and how much happier I probably would have been compared to buying like an Umbreon. And I bought it just because other people said, "Oh, this is worth something," as opposed to this is worth something to me in a way where it makes me feel happy. Just think about that. If you end up wanting to see like kind of like the rest of the stuff that I picked up that kind of went up in price, because I have like a bulk, like those tins that I just put like top loaders of cards I have in them. And honestly, when I go through it, I notice a lot of them have went up in price, and I'm just trying to sort out just to put them like differently in my collection. But if you're interested in seeing it, let me know. earned that. Be safe out there. Honestly, Journey Together, Team Rocket. I'm gonna avoid those sets. If I could pick up an MSRP, I'll pick it up. But I'm not gonna buy into any of these sets just because that's just not it for me, and that's just not the vibe for me. Like I always tell people, I'm like, I think out of spite, I'm not gonna buy them, and the fact that if you support these resellers, you support these stores that sell things to you for triple, quadruple the price, and then you buy these singles that are so freaking high in price on release, you're gonna take the L. You're gonna get burnt out on the hobby. You're gonna hate yourself for buying these things. And at the end of the day, it's just gonna take the fun out of the hobby for you. So let's take it easy out there, all right? See you guys soon. Bye bye.